Hi, this is Savanna,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Starboars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Welcome to Starboars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete,
And I'm Savanna, aka the Dorky Diva.
and we are here with a brand new episode of Star Wars, telling you all about Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023, which is coming to the London this Easter weekend, and we're going to tell you why we're looking forward to it, what the best bits are going to be, and also what our favourite things about Star Wars Celebration is and are. Just to let everybody know, I met Savanna at Star Wars Celebration in London in 2016, I believe. So that was sort of how we met, and that's how I started a podcast off sort of meeting you type of thing, and obviously listening to your podcast, which is sort of a cool little full circle journey. But let's just dive straight into the location. Savannah, if you don't mind. Obviously, Celebration Europe's come to London. What do you make of sort of London as a city and as a location for Celebration Europe, and what are you looking forward to doing when you're here?
I think it's a great place to have celebration. It's the only international celebration that I've ever done before. But in comparison to the US based celebrations that I have attended, which would be Orlando, Anaheim, and Chicago, it has a really intimate feeling. It feels a little bit smaller, but in a good way. Like you get to experience a lot more on the exhibit hall floor. You get to meet new people. And I've noticed this year with the guest list, they have a lot more UK based guests coming, which is really exciting. Um, I love, like visiting new places. And the last time I was in London, I did a lot of the more like touristy historical sites and things like that after my trip to Celebration. So I'm excited this year to really just spend time at the convention and like hang out with people and friends that are going to be at Celebration. Because last time I really didn't have a lot of friends that went to the convention. It was me and my mom and my brother. Obviously, I met you there, which was so cool. And it's crazy that now, like, here we are all these years later getting ready to do this again. But this year a lot of my friends are going, so I think it's going to be really fun to just like see everybody again and just hang out.
So you mentioned the convention center there itself, the Excel Center. I think I found the Excel Center quite big when I went for my first celebration. But then obviously, since then, sort of been to Orlando the year after, and then obviously went to Chicago. And I think you're right; it is on the smaller side, but I think it does feel more intimate. As a convention center, like how do you think it stacks up, sort of facilities wise, compared to some of the other ones we've been out?
I really liked the layout. I remember the last time they had it, they had the exhibit hall split into two different rooms that were across like a large hallway from each other. And I know some people complained about that because they would forget which booths were on which side, but for some reason I had a good memory of what was on each side, and I really liked that because instead of walking into one giant exhibit hall, it just kind of split it in half and it had smaller rooms. So I hope they do that again this year. Um, they had plenty of seating in all the panels that I went to. I think I got into every single panel that I wanted last time, which was like the big Rogue One panel. I remember they had a Rebel Season 3 panel. There were some really big ones, and they fit tons of people into those. So I liked that. Um, my only complaint last year, which I know they have fixed because I've looked into it, but last year, or the last time they had it, they didn't have water fountains anywhere to like refill your water bottles. And I looked on the XL London Twitter last year when they announced that Celebration would be back there, and I found a post saying that they installed water fountains, which is really great. I remember I ate a few times in the convention center too, and the food was great. So I really liked the layout. I remember there was a lot of natural light in the middle of the convention center, which was nice. And yeah, like really no complaints. There were a lot of great places to take photos outside too. There were like a lot of really big staircases. And I know the 501st and like the Rebel Legion took their group photos there, which is really awesome. Yeah, I loved it. I never had an issue like finding any of the rooms or anything like that.
Yeah, I remember obviously it being my first celebration, so being quite sort of alien to it. But I remember luckily bumping into yourself, obviously in the queue waiting to get in for day one, and obviously getting sort of the lowdown on celebration, how it's laid out from you while we're waiting to go in. But yeah, I remember getting in every panel that was available. Um, Again, I thought the outside of the XLs, it's almost like it's on a pedestal. You've got steps leading up, big open spaces, plenty of room to meet up with friends and colleagues, and also a good place to get pictures. Um, so yeah, I'm really really looking forward to it. I'm wondering how much like if they're gonna use, because I feel like they didn't use all of the space in the XL last time. So I wonder if
Yeah.
they're maybe going to be using like more of the space this time, but we will see. And one of the things I loved about Celebration in London last time was the big Rogue One sort of costuming and prop uh, gallery that they had.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're going to have something similar for an upcoming project there
I
this year.
really hope they have stuff from Andor. I really hope they bring Andor costumes and like creatures and things like that. It would be awesome too if I don't know if any part of the set was preserved, but if they had like that city kind of set, if they had brought anything from that, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. That would be full circle, like Port Results. Obviously, Rogue One, which sort of Andor stemmed from. If Rogue One wasn't so
Hmm.
good, we wouldn't have the Andor show. And then obviously also Andor was, filmed a lot on location around the world, but quite a bit of it in the UK as well. So that would be wonderful. Um, Obviously last year, did you go to the Mandalorian or well sort of props and the
Yes,
gallery? Yeah,
I did. And it was honestly the coolest thing I've ever seen at a celebration. And that's pretty high praise because I've been to a lot of them, but that was just really special because they had everything you could possibly imagine from The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. They had costumes, they had miniatures, they had, different creature masks. They had like full-size ships. They had the whole N1 starfighter with Grogu in the little bubble. Like they had the whole thing in there, and you could get really close up to everything. Some things were behind glass, some things were just on display, and they had like a little rope in front so you couldn't go, past that barrier. But everything was lit really well and staged really well. So you could see a lot of different angles of the costumes. They had a lot of different mannequins like in the center of the room, and you could walk completely around them to see all of the details on the front, the back, the sides. They had tons of like weapons and maquettes, and they had literally everything. And that was definitely the highlight of the last celebration for me. And I think it would just be so awesome if they were able to do something like that for Andor. Because I think for me personally, one of my favorite things about Andor was like the costumes and the set pieces. And I would love to see that stuff in person. It takes everything to a whole nother level when you can see it up close because I'm sure, as you know, Peter, I'm a huge Cad Bane fan. But when they brought him into the Book of Boba Fett, I was like, I don't really know if I like this. But when I saw it in person, and I could see the level of detail that was on the mask and the teeth and the eyes and the costume that you might not really notice in the episode. It just made me appreciate a lot more of the work that went into it. So I think it would be really cool if they did something similar to that for this celebration.
If they were to do an Andor gallery, what would be the one sort of creature, droid, spaceship prop that you would definitely want to see the most?
I would want to see B2EMO because he's so cute, and
I knew that was
I
coming.
think I think it'd be really cool if they had him. But I think just a lot of the general kind of commoner costumes that they had on different people that lived in Ferrix, that'd be really cool to see. Um, Obviously, I would love to see everything that Cassian wore, but I would just be happy for any of it, really.
Yeah, I think for me, I would love to see like definitely on Ferrix, and like that guy who's got the big hammers and he's playing the warning, like
Yeah,
those type of things, real props that they had. There's a lot of
yeah.
them. I think I'd love to see like side by side sort of Cassian's wardrobe, um, sort of next to maybe Mon Mothma's wardrobe, and like just how different they are for the
Oh my
different
gosh, I
places
didn't
they live.
even think about her costumes. That would be, I mean, that would really be the peak of it, honestly. I would love that.
um, so yeah, so obviously you mentioned there there's hopefully going to be a gallery there. Other things to do with celebration, there's going to be panels as we mentioned.
Mhm.
Which panels are you looking forward to the most, and which ones intrigue you the most?
Gosh, this year has a really good lineup of panels. On Friday they have another Lucasfilm showcase. They did one of those in Anaheim last year, and I think it was the first time they've ever done a panel like that. And that's really when they talked about Kenobi, they talked about Andor, they talked about Willow, Indiana Jones. Like they talked about everything that they're working on. I think that one will be a highlight this year, and I'm hoping that they also talk about Indiana Jones again because the next movie is coming out, honestly, in just a few months. So that will be really cool. I'm sure they'll preview other projects that they're working on, like Ahsoka. We know like Acolyte and Andor season 2 are in production right now. So I think it would be awesome if they had like some sort of teaser or behind the scenes photos to show us. So that one will definitely be a highlight for Friday. On Saturday, there's a 40 years of Return of the Jedi panel to celebrate the 40th anniversary. I think that will be really cool. And then there's a Clone Wars panel. And like if it has anything to do with um, Clone Wars, I'm there. On Sunday, they have a look back panel for the Obi-Wan show, which honestly surprised me. I think whenever I think about celebration, I picture more panels that are like announcing new projects or talking about new projects, but I'm really happy that they're going back and discussing things that have already come out. I can't remember which day it is, but I think they also have an Andor panel like that as well, which would be really cool. And then on Monday, there's a panel with Doug Chang about designing for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show. And I am obsessed with Doug Chang. I love the panels that he's done in the past. He's a really great speaker, and it's really awesome to see his work and, hear him talking about it. So I think that one will be a good one too. And then I'm really hoping, as they usually do during the closing ceremonies on Monday, they'll announce like where and when the next celebration will be. So those are like my highlights that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think the Doug Chang panel will be fantastic. I remember like a really fond memory of mine is Celebration in London last time, 2016, and like I bumped into Doug Chang on the sort of walking the convention floor, um, and for someone who grew up with those prequel DVDs and the extras, and you really get to see Doug Chang work and talk a lot as basically the concept artist for the prequel trilogy. And obviously, he's now in an executive position with the company. But that was just awesome to bump into him, and then obviously, have a 5 minute conversation with him. He's such a nice guy and humble guy. Um, that happened to me there, and so I'm very excited for his panel. How crazy will you go if in the Lucasfilm panel on the Friday, Harrison Ford is there, sort of with Kathy Kennedy, with John Williams? You're going to go crazy.
I mean, I know I'll cry again because that's what happened the last time. Last year when he came out, I was like beside myself. I actually have a video that I took when he walked out on stage, And it's so funny because my mom was standing next to me, and you would think she's screaming so loud because she's also an Indiana Jones and just Harrison Ford fanatic. You would think that she was being murdered by the scream that she let out when he came out on stage. So, yeah, I would be thrilled. My mom would be thrilled. I just think it would be so great if he was there. I'm really hoping they have a new trailer to show us for Indy 5. Because the last time they didn't have a trailer, they just had like a photo. And John Williams came out and played some of the music, and Kathy and Frank Marshall and Harrison were all there, and it was just really special. Honestly, it was really special because Harrison just looked so happy, and he's kind of known for being a little grumpy guy, but he looked really happy to be there last time, and it was really cool to see that.
Definitely. I think, I think we'll have a new trailer because I think it'll be 2 months away. I think when Celebration happens, Indiana Jones 5 will be, 2 months away from release. So hopefully they show us a new trailer. But I mean, if you give us a choice between a trailer and Harrison Ford, I'd rather have Harrison Ford there, which would be absolutely fantastic. And obviously, you mentioned about the closing ceremony and maybe announcing where the next celebration is.
Yeah.
Where do you think it'll be, and how long do you think it'll be before we get it?
Well, there was something that came out recently on StarWars.com that said they're not doing a celebration next year. So I'm assuming the next one will be 2025, which I'm personally okay with. I kind of like having a gap between them just for, saving money and also being able to go on other trips like between the years. Um, I really hope it comes back to Orlando, and I think the chances of that happening are pretty high. Obviously, I want that because I live in Orlando, so it'd be very convenient for me and familiar. But I think it's likely because they've done three here in Orlando already. Um, so that's really what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping for that. But I'm okay that they're skipping next year because I actually have a trip planned next spring to go to New Zealand for 2 weeks. And part of me, when I planned that trip, I was a little worried that if celebration happened next year, I might not be able to go because I already had this other trip planned. So when they said they weren't doing one next year, I was like, okay, that's really great. But I think they're also skipping next year to start alternating with D23 Expo because that's the Disney convention that they do in Anaheim. And I know their plan for a while before COVID kind of derailed this plan, but they were hoping to do D23 one year, celebration the next year, and then alternate and go back and forth between the two. So I think they're finally getting to do that now.
Yeah, that was something I was going to add. So I remember before COVID, them saying it was going to be biannually and work sort
Hmm.
of alongside D23. But obviously, that big thing COVID hit, and here we are now with two in a row. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, New Zealand. Are you going to visit Middle Earth?
Yes, I'm going on a 14-day Lord of the Rings tour. So it's all about that.
That's awesome. So, to be fair, we haven't probably spoke much about Middle Earth, but like well, not so much now, but I was hugely into Lord of the Rings, especially when the movies came out, and probably like the years after when the Hobbits came out. But we like between me and you, we probably haven't spoke about it. But yeah, my auntie lives in New Zealand, and I remember
Oh.
she sent me a book, which was like it was a guide to all the locations and sort of where they were in New Zealand and what they were in the movie.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
still one of my favorite books to this day. That she sent me, but yeah, I'm a bit jealous of that because that'll be fantastic, and I'm sure like some of the sets are still there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely going to take us to the Shire and like all that stuff is still there. And then it's a guided tour that they take you on. So they take you to a lot of the different filming locations. You get like a private tour of Weta Workshop. You get to meet the people that made the jewelry, like the One Ring and things like that. So I'm very excited about that. But it's such a long trip. Like it's 2 weeks long and it's also expensive. So the fact that there's no celebration next year is so great because I'm like I could not afford to do both and I don't have the time to do both either. So I'm glad that we're skipping a year between them.
Yeah. Um, Obviously, the panels that we've been speaking about, they're working on the lottery system again, aren't they? Where you apply online with your pass with your ID card essentially to enter the raffle.
Yeah, so they're doing that, which I think is great. They've done that now for the last two, I think. I know they did it in Chicago. I know they did it last time. I think that's the only times that they've done it that way. And I think it works really well. There have been a few instances where like friends of mine did not get any of the panels that they wanted, but somehow on the day of they found a way into those rooms. So it all worked out in the end. But I think one of the benefits of Celebration coming to London is that I kind of mentioned earlier, it's on a smaller scale and there's usually lower attendance than there is in the US. So I'm expecting people to have really good odds with their panel entries, and I bet a lot of people will get into most of the things that they want to. But I like the lottery system because it totally removes the need of having to wait in lines overnight. And I used to do that at Celebration. I did that actually the last time we were in London. I did that for Celebration Anaheim in 2015. And it just takes a lot out of you. If you're sleeping on like a concrete floor all night, you don't have energy to do anything else the next day or even really fully enjoy the panel that you got into. So I think the lottery system is a good way to do things now.
Yeah, definitely. I think the convention itself is such a you use so much energy and you're exhausted after every day just with the convention
Hmm.
itself. Not to mention having to queue overnight as well. It does take it out of you and take its toll on you. If
Yeah.
it doesn't hit you day one, you're definitely feeling it by day two, day three.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, we've got the panels. We've hopefully got the gallery area. There's also going to be a lot of Star Wars stars signing signatures. Have you got any awesome Star Wars signatures that are really in a proud place in your collection, Savannah?
I actually don't collect autographs. I used to collect them when I was younger, but now I've been doing more of the photo ops instead. Um, so at the last celebration I did, the only photo op I did was with Ewan McGregor, and I wore my Zam Wessel costume, and that was super fun. And then a few months prior to that, I had done a photo op with Hayden Christensen at Emerald City Comic Con. So those are expensive. The autographs are obviously expensive, but for me, I enjoy the photo ops more. There's like no time to interact with them, which is kind of unfortunate. Like when I met Ewan, it was like a half a second interaction and then they usher you off so that they can get the next person in there. But I really like how the photo turned out. They give you like a physical print of it. So I think those are nice. They're doing those again this year, which is great. But I'm not doing any this year just because honestly the prices are so high, and I think for me all of the photo ops that I've really wanted in the past I've already done, and I'm like I don't need to do that again. I don't need to spend that money again on like Ewan or Hayden. So I'm not doing any this year, but I think they have a really great lineup of guests. um I think it's really awesome that Mads Mikkelsen is coming. I hope a lot of people dressed up as Jin take pictures with him. I think that'd be really cool. Um, but yeah, I'm not doing any this year, but it is really fun. It's just expensive.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really collect autographs, but I did go to a convention in Blackburn last year. So it was a sort of a small convention, and I got my first signature there. I got a Greedo figure signed by Paul Blake, who played Greedo in A New Hope. So it hasn't set a bug off or anything, so I'm not like desperately after them, but I might get one. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it yet, but I'm not. I'm not a big collector of them. And as you said, the photo ops, they look really cool. And obviously, your pictures came out really nice. I remember seeing those, and other people's. But again, just for the price of it, and then for how
Yeah,
little the
it's
interaction is,
expensive.
yeah, I think if they announced George Lucas, then I'd do it. No matter how much that cost,
Yeah.
I'd do that. But if it's not big GL, um, and probably not. No, probably not doing one. But then it was weird because I saw obviously, I think the prices of autographs and pictures has been a talking point, I think, across the fandom for Celebration Europe. Well, I did see that, like quite high individual prices, But then I did see like a Clone Wars bundle where it was like you got Ashley Eckstein um, in the gang for like quite a reasonable price considering how much they were individually. So
Yeah.
maybe group bookings is the way forward for those guys who want to get the pictures.
Yeah, those are really nice. My mom did one of those in Chicago with her friends. I think she did the group photo with like the Clone Wars cast, and she did it with, I don't know, maybe three other friends. And so the four of them split the cost of the photo op, and it ended up being really affordable. So it's nice that they offer the little bundles like that, and you can include multiple people in your photo.
And obviously probably the biggest thing about celebration is is the merchandise, whether it be the official store merchandise or whether it be the exclusives that the big brands are going to have in their stores, or whether it's you're looking for some vintage bits and bobs around the stores on the convention floor. um, what are you looking forward to most about merchandise, and what things are you looking to pick up?
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the official celebration store has. Last year, I spent so much money in the store. I bought like so many Attack of the Clones shirts because it was the 20th anniversary. I bought many Zam Wessel shirts. I bought like a Attack of the Clones track jacket. I bought the little print on demand shirts. My favorite thing that they do in the store, and I believe they're doing it again this time, they have like a little separate booth set up in the official store where they have different screen printed shirts and they change them throughout the day. So every single day there might be like one exclusive design, and you can choose what color shirt and shirt blank you want the design to be on. So last year I bought like five different designs on like a women's cut shirt because it's usually hard to find women's cut shirts in the stores. They usually just do like unisex shirts, and then you can pick the color you want. So I got some really pretty shirts last time, like a really pretty blue with Anakin on it, a really pretty like olive green with some different like bounty hunter women on it. It had like Aura Singh and different characters, which was really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what designs they have for those, and just like the random weird merch that they do in the official store. Like last year, I was so bummed because I wanted the neon sign of the Dexter's Diner logo, but by the time I got in the store, they were all gone. But I think the little like, I don't know, very niche products like that in the official store are always really fun to get. And then the last time I was at Celebration London, I had really good luck finding some cool pieces just at random booths in the exhibit hall. I remember I bought a vintage C3PO necklace that I had been looking for years. I found it there and I wear it all the time. So that was a really good purchase. I bought a pair of R2D2 shoes from this brand called Irregular Choice. I bought like a ton of other shirts. So my wallet might not be ready, but I am mentally ready to buy lots of things.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about the celebration stores is the t-shirts. I love t-shirts. I have far too many. My wife definitely hates my t-shirt collection. Didn't realize how big that was. And it grows by about 50 shirts every year. But they do like every celebration I've been to, they always have sort of Star Wars film poster t-shirts, but in different languages from the different countries.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and that's like, I don't know why, but I just like that. So that's my niche. So like, if I see a nice t-shirt with a foreign language Star Wars poster on it, like I'd buy it. So I'm hoping there'll be a couple of those. Hopefully not too many, because I want to spend all my money, but a few of those would be nice. I remember celebration in Chicago, which was my last celebration. Um, obviously, queuing to get in, getting to the front, and then I was using my Monzo card because I was in a foreign country, which is what I use when I'm traveling abroad. Um, so sort of I paid for it, and there was a bit of confusion. Then like I left, and then like sort of my app on my phone like pinged us to notify us of like the transaction, and like
Mhm.
somehow they'd scanned everything through. Everything was scanned through, but they'd missed out off like close to $200 worth of stuff that I
Oh
got for
my
free.
gosh.
So I actually end up, I didn't go and tell them that because obviously I wouldn't do that. But I did go back in the store later and like respent that money on like all that stuff that I was gonna get, but I wasn't because it was a little bit too much money. So yeah,
Yeah.
so if that happens again, lovely, but it probably won't. Probably a one off. But yeah, I remember that being quite a nice shock to have.
That's funny because Peter, the same thing happened to me in Anaheim last year, but I was too nice. So I can't remember what happened, but long story short, I was buying like $700 worth of merch because I was buying stuff for myself, for my mom, for my brother, and for my friend Tori. And like, everybody was like paying me back, but I was just doing it as one big transaction. So it was a lot of money. And the guy that was like the cashier, he missed a bunch of stuff. And I just felt bad because I was like, he's going to get in trouble if I don't say something. So I said something. I was like, you're missing like half of my stuff here. And so he scanned it all in. And then I checked out. And even after telling him, like, hey, you missed this stuff, there were still a couple shirts that I basically ended up getting for free because he still forgot to scan them. But I was like, listen, man, I tried. Like, I tried to tell you
Yeah.
to scan this stuff in, but I did end up getting a couple shirts for free, which was nice. But I just worry about those people that work in the stores. I'm like, I hope they don't get in trouble for accidentally
It
not
always
scanning things.
it always seems like sort of controlled chaos in there where I don't think anybody would even know.
It is pretty crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really chaotic last year. Like when my mom and I got in there, we didn't wait super long in line. I would say we probably waited like 20 minutes in line, and I think we went on maybe the third day. Um but gosh, when we went in there was just stuff like all over the floor, and there were just boxes everywhere that you kind of had to dig through. The Attack of the Clones jacket that I got, I dug through the box and they did not have any in my size. And then I walked around the store. And while I was walking around in the store, my mom checked one more time for that jacket and she ended up finding one magically in some random box. But yeah, it was very chaotic and not organized. And it felt like a treasure hunt because there was just stuff like thrown around everywhere. And you just kind of had to get lucky and dig for stuff.
Yeah, and I remember. So my last celebration was Chicago, where that Thursday, the first day, was sort of like there was no panels on it. It was just a case of like a merch day. But obviously, that's not happening this year. So essentially, you're gonna have to plan your trip to the store in and around the
Yeah.
things you want to do. I suppose, depending on what's your priority.
Yeah, they are doing a lightning lane lottery for the store this year, which they did last year, but last year they did it where you had to enter every day at the beginning of the day and you had to do it from your phone. And we tried every single day and we never got it. And the technical part of it just wasn't working very well. But if I'm remembering correctly, I think this year it's like tied to your badge, kind of the same way that the panels are. And so you can enter a lottery with your badge. I could be wrong, but I think they're doing it a little bit differently this year.
I hope so, because I remember the lightning lane in Chicago, and then that just didn't work. Like I was trying to get on it,
Yeah.
and it couldn't work, and then we were in a queue for like 4 hours to get in this store, and then the lightning lane was
Yeah.
empty, so it was a bit like, what's the what is the point in all
What's
this?
the point of it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I think maybe with now that they've done Lightning Lane a few times, they've learned, hopefully, they've learned what works and what doesn't work. But when you get your badge in the mail, you should look into that, entering with your badge for the store one, because I think it's a little bit different this year, and I'm hoping it gives people better luck, like getting into it.
yeah. And then apart from official store, during the pandemic, I started collecting sort of vintage collection Star Wars figures. So I've got about 20, although in storage at the minute, obviously, while I'm renovating my house and ready to move in. But so yes, I've got about 20 vintage Star Wars figures. So
Nice.
I'll be looking forward to picking up a couple of those if I see some nice ones at a good price on the convention floor. And then something that I get really jealous about is the amount of crew gear that you guys in the US seem to
Yeah.
find quite easily, especially
Yeah.
especially silver.
Yes. She lives in the prime location to find that stuff because she's in Southern California.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to find maybe a couple of some crew t-shirts, some crew caps maybe. I don't actually own any, but it's something that again in my mind I'm like I really really want that, and I think they're hard to come by in the UK, and then if you do find them sort of online in the UK or you know they've added money onto the price of it because they know it's hard to get. Where I'm
Yeah.
hoping maybe there'll be some stores there with more of that. But yeah, it
Yeah.
always Silver's social media. I always watch it every weekend for the thrift hunts, and I'm always just like really really happy at all the awesome finds. But I'm also just like, I wish I lived there just for one day, just to go to these places and grab all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, she has some really good finds, but she definitely hunts for the stuff too. She goes to a lot of different markets and stuff, but she lives in a really good location. But I'm assuming you would have good luck at this celebration finding stuff, especially since, a lot of Star Wars productions are made in the UK. So maybe those UK based crew members have things to get rid of.
Hopefully. And then I think the last thing is I've obviously, as I mentioned, I'm renovating a house at the minute. Bought a new house end of last year. It's busy renovating it now. Should be ready to move in hopefully by mid-April. But I'm after some art, to display.
Yeah.
So obviously there is the Star Wars art shows, and then you can buy sort of art, certified official art, from the art show. Is that right?
Yeah, I usually buy art from the art show. Honestly, I think this might be my first year not buying something. Um, I have way too much artwork, Peter. Like way too much. I've got stuff on almost every wall in my apartment, and then I still have stuff that I have not framed or hung up. So this year I told myself like it's not happening. You're not spending more money on art that's just going to sit in a closet. So I'm not buying any, but they posted all the art show stuff and there's some really good pieces in there. And then, there's a lot of people that are not in the official art show, but they still sell their artwork in the exhibit hall. So it's always really cool to see what people are bringing.
Well, you can help me choose some art for my house. How about that? We'll have a look.
Nice. That sounds like a good deal. If I could decorate everybody else's homes, that would be fantastic. Let me spend your money for you.
Yes, I think definitely that would be the dream. I think my wife thinks I've got too much Star Wars art, but I actually do not. And that's me being honest. I do have too many T-shirts. I do have too many Star Wars figures. I do have too many Star Wars books, but I do not have too
Hmm.
much Star Wars art yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll add a couple of pieces. Um, I wonder whether be in sort of obviously 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi, as we hinted on. If there'll be, if I mean, I haven't looked at much of the art myself, but I wonder if there'll be art to do with that. And one of my favorite things about Return of the Jedi is the title change from Revenge of the Jedi to Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi. So I wonder if there'll be any sort of Revenge of the Jedi art, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I looked for that when I was looking at the stuff in the art show, and I was kind of surprised at the lack of Return of the Jedi art. But I bet that the official celebration store will kind of make up for that, because they really seem to capitalize on the anniversary kind of merch. So I bet we'll see a lot more of the Return of the Jedi 40th stuff in the official store.
Definitely. And I think I believe the Hasbro convention figure is Black Series Vader with the red glow for Revenge of the Jedi, I think.
Nice.
Um, so I probably will pick that up, although I'm not collecting much Hasbro at the minute, but I'll probably have to do that. And then I don't know what's happening to Funko. I don't know what their exclusives are.
I think I saw it. I think it's a Jar Jar.
Okay, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's a Jar Jar.
I won a prize recently from run by is it Stephen Stanton, the voice actor? He played like Admiral
Yes.
Raddus and voiced obviously Ben Kenobi in Rebels. Um,
Yes.
so he sent us a Funko Obi-Wan Kenobi Funko Pop signed by himself. So that was quite a nice win. So I don't know if that Funko Pop will be there. Maybe it will be.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, is there any sort of, I know you're saying you've got too much art, so maybe you've also got too many collectibles around the house as well. But are you going to be hunting any Funkos down or any Hasbro's down?
Probably won't be looking for any figures, but lately the things that I've been buying a lot more of at conventions is jewelry. Um, so the last time I was in London, I mentioned I bought like a vintage C3PO necklace that I wear a lot. And then when I was in Anaheim, I bought a charm bracelet from like 1980, and it's gold and has little charms on it of RTD2, Darth Vader, and C3PO. And then I also bought a vintage Darth Vader ring. So I'm hoping I can find more jewelry pieces because I just have too many collectibles. And honestly, over the last few years, I've kind of been like selling stuff and getting rid of my collectibles just because, they sit on a shelf and they collect dust. But with the jewelry and with the clothes, I wear them a lot more often and I feel like they're getting used. And I don't know, just like makes me a lot happier to be wearing that stuff rather than display collectibles. So I'm definitely going to be looking at some of the smaller booths that just have like random things like the place where I found the jewelry last year. It was basically an estate sale that someone had, um, like purchased a bunch of stuff from an estate sale and then they brought everything to Celebration and they had a good variety of jewelry. They had Star Wars jewelry, they had stuff from ET, they had a ton of different things. So that's going to be where I'm spending most of my time in the exhibit hall is going to be like digging through little plastic bins looking for like vintage jewelry pieces.
No, that's the hunt's the best part, isn't it? I think when you're on the hunt, you don't know what
Yeah.
you're going to find at these stalls, which is always the best part.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely my favorite part. I remember last time when I bought that C3PO necklace, I was so excited because I'd been looking for it for a few years and it's kind of hard to find. And I found it and I immediately wore it. They were going to put it in like a little bag for me. And I was like, no, I'm putting it on right now after I pay you for this. So I was really excited about it.
Speaking of jewelry and things you wear, have you got your wardrobe planned out for all of the days of the convention?
No, and this is stressing me out. So I'm not taking a costume this year just because traveling with costumes is really stressful and you're always afraid that things could break or things might get lost. And last year, when I flew across the country with my Zam Wessel costume, I was like really stressed that something was going to break. So I didn't want to risk it this time. Um, but I'm kind of torn right now because I usually have Star Wars themed outfits to wear during the convention. But this time, I'm going to London for a week and then I'm going to Paris for a week. And I'm trying to pack 2 weeks of clothes into a carry on suitcase.
Ooh,
So
that's naughty.
I'm trying to be a lot more simplified. The last time I did Celebration in London, my mom and I did 2 weeks. It was like basically the same trip. It was a week in London, a week in Paris, and we did 2 weeks in a carry on.
With the carry on.
And it with a carry-on. But
That's crazy.
last time it was summer, so I packed a lot of lightweight dresses and jumpsuits, whereas this time it's going to be cold and I'm going to need like sweaters and a jacket and things like that. So, no, I don't have my outfits planned yet. And honestly, I might be wearing a lot more basic clothing with Star Wars accessories because the accessories won't take up as much room in my luggage than like a top would, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet what I'm bringing, but I mean, I have plenty of Star Wars clothes. I have a lot of pieces that I've worn in the past that, haven't been worn in a while that I might bring. My plan is next weekend to go through my closet and start pulling things out and trying things on and figuring out exactly what I'm bringing. But I'm just stressed right now about the weather because I'm like, it's probably going to be raining. It's probably going to be cold. When we're in Paris, we're going to be spending a lot of time outside. So I don't want to wear stuff that's going to be like, ruined if it gets rained on or if, I don't want to be too cold. So, yeah, long story short, I do not have my outfits figured out and I'm very stressed about it.
I find that just if if you do this trip with just a carry on, you deserve an award. That is legendary. I don't know. I couldn't do it. I'm a
all
lot
of
less
my
happy than you.
friends all my friends are like, just check a bag. And I was like, no, I don't want to deal with it. So, whenever I do it, like whenever I'm done getting packed before the trip, I'll probably post a picture and be like, I did it. I have 2 weeks of outfits in this carry on suitcase.
That'll be crazy. Wait, you
Yeah.
do that episode of Friends when Joey puts all of Chandler's clothes on at once. That could be you at the airport with like wearing 4 outfits at once. You don't have to check a bag.
Yeah, I'm definitely strategically planning to wear my most bulky items on the plane. Like I think I'm gonna wear my biggest pair of shoes and a really big coat on the plane because the coat can double as like a blanket on the plane. So,
Good
yeah, it's gonna
logic.
be
Good
tough.
logic.
It's gonna be tough.
I think
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it, but obviously, as I mentioned before, I've got like loads of Star Wars t-shirts, but they're all in storage still. So and they're at the back of the storage container. So there's no way I'm going to get those out. So um, obviously, we're getting a couple of podcast t-shirts made up. So I'll be wearing those around the convention, and then just whatever Star Wars t-shirts that aren't in storage, I'll be wearing. I imagine. Um,
And then you can always buy more there. That's the nice thing.
But this is the thing, if I go to the shop day one, I'm probably going to be buying at least, I'm not even joking, 5 t-shirts at least as a minimum. So there's only
Yeah.
3 days left after day one. So
Yeah,
it'll
honestly,
work.
once they announce what they're selling in the store, that will help me pack or at least plan my packing a little bit better because last time in Anaheim, I made a list of all the shirts I was going to buy there. And that's honestly most of what I wore during the convention. So I didn't really bring a lot of clothes with me. I just bought stuff there and then brought it home. It would be really great to do that again, but they haven't shared yet what they're selling. So I don't know what they're going to be carrying in the store yet.
And obviously you mentioned obviously cosplaying, that you won't be cosplaying because of the logistics of bringing a cosplay across from a different country into this country. Um, Obviously you did Zam Wessel last year. What other cosplays have you done for Star Wars celebrations, and which one's the favorite one you've done out of all of them?
I've only ever cosplayed at one other celebration, and it was my Jedi costume. I used to have like it was like a original character, like a wolf pack Padawan. And I would cosplay with a group of friends that were all the various clone troopers from the wolf pack battalion. And then they had a Plo Koon, and then my brother and I were like generic kind of wolf pack Jedi. But I typically don't cosplay at celebrations because I really enjoy going to the panels and stuff. And a lot of my costumes you can't sit in, so that's tough. But I did have a lot of fun last year wearing Zam because the whole purpose of me building that costume was to wear it at celebration. So it was really rewarding to wear it there and have people like recognize the character and stuff. That was really cool. I would love to have brought it to London, but it's just too much of a logistical nightmare, and it also takes a long time to get in and out of that costume. So it kind of eats up part of your day, and then you don't really experience a whole lot when you're in the costume because you're being stopped a lot for photos and you're just kind of wandering around in the same area. Um, but I'm hoping maybe by the next one, I'll have a Sabine costume, which I think would be really fun to wear here in Orlando. If Celebration comes back to Orlando, I'll definitely wear Zam again because it will be very easy to transport it there. And I would love to have a Sabine Wren costume built by then to wear as well.
Obviously, Sabine Wren, we hopefully will see in the upcoming Ahsoka series, so it could be very topical.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. And I'm kind of hoping we see a trailer for the Ahsoka show at this celebration because I haven't started on that costume yet, only because I'm not sure like what if I end up liking the live action armor more than the animated armor, you know? So I'm kind of waiting out that to see which one I prefer and which one I want to make.
If there was 3 trailers that you could witness at Celebration Europe coming up in April, which 3 trailers would you love to see? Obviously, Ahsoka will be one. You've just said so. Another two.
I think it would be the Indy 5 trailer, like another Indy trailer. And I really want to see something for Acolyte. Um, I would say and/or season 2, but I don't know if we'll have a trailer for that yet. I just want to see some sort of maybe behind the scenes sizzle or something for Acolyte because I'm really excited about that show, but we haven't, other than a few leaks from the set, I haven't seen anything about it. So that's at the top of my list for sure.
Have you been enjoying any of the High Republic storytelling, which sort of possibly leads into Acolyte?
I have not read any of the High Republic, which is part of why I'm so excited for the show. I don't really read a lot of the Star Wars books or comics, but I'm really fascinated by that time period. So I'm glad that they're going to be exploring that kind of era in Acolyte because I just don't think I'll ever read the books. I'm definitely more of a fan of like the TV shows and the movies. So whenever they explore things in video games or books or comics, I usually don't, I don't know what goes on because I don't really consume that kind of stuff. But I'm very interested in that time period.
So I've read some of the books and I absolutely love them. I love the era, but I'm just not a good reader, so I put them down, pick them back up, type of thing. So I am behind, but the era just itself is wonderful. So I am looking forward to them hopefully doing more sort of on-screen storytelling in the era because I think everybody's going to love it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Obviously, we've talked about the convention itself. What have you got planned much on the evenings? What's your plans for hanging out after the convention ends for the day?
Don't have any solidified plans, but obviously would love to see you. Brian's going to be there, so I'm really excited to like hang out with him and all of our mutual friends. I'm keeping my evenings open and just kind of see what happens. I would like to try and get maybe a couple dinner reservations here and there just so I have some sort of plan, but I don't have anything figured out yet, and I'm not really doing any major sightseeing in London this time. I do have reservations on Tuesday after the convention. It's my birthday, so I have reservations that day to have afternoon tea with my mom and my friend Tori, so I'm very excited about that. But for the days of the convention, I'm just kind of excited to see who I'm mingling with and see what happens and kind of go from there. Um, a few of my other friends at the conventions are somewhat local to London, so I'm eagerly awaiting their like recommendations and, places to eat and things like that. So, yeah, I'm just kind of keeping my schedule open.
Well, if you hear of any good areas, you have to pass it on because even though I'm from England, obviously I live up north. So apart from like the city of London, which I know a bit better, but I know nowhere any other convention centre or anything. So if you get any hot tips, pass them on.
Oh, I will for sure. And hopefully you'll be there. Brian and I are going to drag you along to dinner.
Well, I love good company and I love good food, so I'm sure I'll be very happy.
Good. He and I definitely want to have dinner one night at like an authentic pub. That's one of our goals. So, need to find one of those.
So I know a really good. It's called the Lowlander, and it sounds like a wide range of beers, but it's like Belgian beers and things like that. But that's got a very sort of traditional pub feeling about it. But there's quite a few. There's quite a few in there. I'm sure we'll be able to find one and track one down.
Yeah.
What's your
I
what's going to be your favorite beverage to track down?
um I think for me, this is probably not a popular opinion, especially in London, but I don't drink beer, but I love wine. So, if I could find a really great glass of wine, I would be thrilled.
I'm sure there will definitely be some very trendy wine bars to find who will definitely be able to serve a good glass.
I think
Yeah.
that'd be super fun.
And I definitely think Brian will drink the beer on your behalf.
Yeah, I'm open to trying beer, but it's not my favorite, but kind of got to do what the locals do and I'll try anything. So, yeah, I'm down.
Have you ever tried like a strawberry beer?
Uh, I don't think I have. If things are more fruity and sweet, I'm definitely more apt to like them. So, maybe I need to try more of those.
Because I've got quite a sweet tooth, and you know they'll probably have it somewhere in London, but up where I live, it's called Tinnemans, and it's like a strawberry beer, but like
Oh,
it tastes more like strawberry than it does like beer. Like it's outrageously good. Um,
yeah, that sounds delicious.
and you have people who drink beer who are like, oh, like what are you drinking that for? Like it's not proper beer, but like quite strong as well.
Yeah.
But no, so maybe if I find that, I'll let you have a try of that. Maybe
Yeah, I would
you might
definitely
enjoy it.
try that. That sounds good.
Definitely. I'm sort of the same. I've sort of got no plans for the evenings really, so it'll be good to just mingle with people and just hang out with guests who'll be on the show. Friends who I haven't seen since Celebration Chicago, I suppose, and like yourself and Brian, um,
Yeah.
and others who are coming along. You mentioned Paris. Obviously, are you going to be going to see the Mouse?
Yes, I am. So The last time I was there, my mom and I went for 1 day. And I asked her this time if we could go for 2 days because I just felt like we didn't have enough time last trip to see everything. Um, but the last time we did this trip, we really loved Paris. We loved the sights, we loved the food, we loved the people. So we don't have a whole lot of plans outside of Disneyland, but we're really excited to just kind of walk in different areas and see the sights and probably go back and see some of the cathedrals that we liked, um, and just have a nice, relaxing time. But the top of the thing on my bucket list for this trip is to ride Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland Paris because that's my favorite ride here in the States. And it was closed when we went the last time in Paris. So I've not done it in Paris. And everybody has told me that the Big Thunder Mountain in Paris is the best one. So I have to ride that. Like I have to do it. That's the top of my list for Paris.
So I have rode Big Thunder Mountain in Paris, a lot of times actually. Um, but the last time I rode it was probably about 13. So, and then obviously I rode Big Thunder Mountain in Magic Kingdom,
Mhm.
in probably 2019, 2018, whenever when I was there. So,
Mhm.
and I remember Big Thunder Mountain in Paris being better, but I don't know if that's
Okay,
because
good.
I don't know if that's because I was a child and that memory is like my child memory. But so I don't know, but I think there's something about the Paris. I mean, again, I haven't been to Paris Park in a while, but there's something about being there, and every brick just seems to be like more detailed. I don't know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's my childlike memory, but it's funny you say that because my wife's not a big theme park fan, but we've just booked to go to Disneyland Paris for we're doing 4 days, 3 nights in January.
Nice.
In January, yeah, so we're
Nice.
going to go and enjoy the magic because a few things in my memory, Big Thunder Mountain was better in Paris than it was in Orlando, and then in my
Mhm.
memory, Pirates of the Caribbean, which is my favorite ride ever,
Yes.
is better in Paris than it was in Magic Kingdom. But that could
I
just be an
agree
age
on
thing. I don't
that.
know.
No, I agree on that one too. The one in Paris is really good. It's like you're in a bigger boat. To me it seems like a more epic, bigger ride than the one in the US. So, I like that a lot. I also just really like the castle in Paris, and I love how it looks like it's built on this hillside, and there's the little like cube trees. They landscape the trees to look like squares. And I don't know, it's just like really cute and very picturesque. The last time we went, it was very overcast, and I'm hoping maybe we'll have a like I don't know if we'll have a better chance of having good weather, but I'm hoping maybe it'll be a little bit clearer because I think it'd be really pretty to have pictures of the castle with like a blue sky instead of gray sky. So, crossing my fingers for that, but I'll just be happy to be there anyways.
Is there any new Star Wars stuff in Paris? Do you know?
Um, I don't think so. I think the last time I was there, they were updating Star Tours, so that was not open at the time, but I'm sure Star Tours there is exactly like the one we have here, but I'll still ride it just to check it out. I do remember last time though, they had a lot of really good exclusive pins for Star Wars that were exclusive to Disneyland Paris. So they had some better merch, but as far as like attractions and stuff, I don't think they have anything new.
I think speaking of pin trading, that's one thing that Louise, my wife, loves. So, like, although she's not really into theme parks, and she's probably going to be a bit out of depth at Disney, but I think she's excited about the pin trading. So I'm going to clue her up on that and what to look for and cast members
Yeah.
lanyards to steal, well, not steal, but trade for.
Yeah, the pins in Paris were really good. I'm not really a pin trader, but I bought a lot of them the last time I was there because they had some really cool ones that were exclusive.
Any last thoughts about Star Wars Celebration Europe and what you are hoping for and what you want to see and how excited you are for it?
I'm excited isn't even the right word. I'm thrilled. It feels fake. Like I can't believe it's happening so soon. But I'm really excited that a lot more of my friends are going to be there this year than they were like the last time it was in London. I'm excited to meet new people. That's probably my favorite thing about Celebration every year is that I go in with like a group of people that I know, but somehow I always end up making new friends. And obviously, you and I are an example of that. We've been friends ever since we met in 2016, which is so awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to announcements that we might not be expecting. Like, I feel like there's maybe a chance we're going to get an announcement of a new Star Wars movie, and that will be really special to be there for. And everybody will be buzzing about it. They'll probably have some sort of merch about it if that is a thing. Um, the best thing about Celebration is the unexpected because they always have some really special surprises for us. Like they had, the Mandalorian experience last year. That was not expected at all. That was not on the schedule, and we had no idea that was happening. And that ended up being my favorite part of the whole weekend. So I'm just really looking forward to the things that we don't know about.
I've got a couple of hot seat questions for you.
Okay,
So we're
I'm
going to
ready.
start off light, and then we're going to get intense as we go on.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so if there's going to be a movie announcement, who do you think is going to be involved in that announcement? Like whose movies are going to be,
Oh.
what's it going to be about? Pressure's
I
on.
have two thoughts. I hope it's a Taika Waititi movie, but I've heard rumors about a potential movie with Daisy Ridley. So I don't know. I really hope it's Taika's movie though.
Could Tiger do a Daisy movie?
Sure. I mean, why not? Why not?
I think it is a Taika movie. I think they've announced that. I don't think it involves Daisy really. Um, but yeah, I would love to see them announce just the next movie because that's going to be the next big like. Don't get us wrong. I love Disney Plus and love watching Star Wars on the small screen, but just waiting for that trailer, cast announcements, you know,
Yeah.
securing your
It's a whole
midnight
other
showing
level
tickets.
of excitement. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping that we do get a movie announcement. I think it will be Tiger. I think you're right. Um, Next one, Adventures of the Zolan Dart. How far are we from anything new coming? Perhaps, maybe.
We might have a really big announcement in May, and that's all I can say for now. But it's going very well, and we've been making a lot of progress. I will say last year, some things were happening. We did not have a lot of progress on it, but Brian has been very hard at work, and we're looking at an announcement in May. Fingers crossed.
That's music to my ears because I really, really enjoyed Adventures of the Zolan Dart Part One. So I'm very, very pleased to hear that. That is making motion, shall we say? It's going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, lastly, um, why should somebody go and experience the Halcyon Legacy as part of the
Oh.
Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel experience?
Do you have an hour to speak about this, Peter?
We've got 57
um,
minutes. That's how long you've got.
gosh, yeah, I went on the Star Cruiser back in January and it was the highlight of a lifetime. Honestly, like I was a hater when that project was announced. I was like, who in their right mind would pay that much to go on a 2-day trip in a hotel? Like, I didn't understand it. But when I did it, I was blown away. I did pay for the trip myself. I was not there with like any media coverage or anything like that. So I paid for it and I felt like it was worth every single penny and more. The food was amazing. The entertainment was amazing. The cast members were amazing. And I feel like I've made lifelong friends on that trip that I will have forever. Um, Oddly enough, I went on that trip with my friend Tori. And just a couple weeks ago, Tori and I had dinner with some of the cast members that were on that cruise and some of the other guests that were from out of town. They were actually from Texas and they were visiting Orlando just for like another Disney trip. And we got together and had dinner with them. And I was like, how cool is this that we met these people through the Star Cruiser and here we are having dinner with them 2 months later and I feel like we're going to be friends forever. But it was such an incredible experience. Everything on that ship is just so detailed and so beautiful, and every cast member there is just there to like take care of you and make sure that you're having a great time. So the service was amazing, and I I want to go back so bad again. I'm already looking at maybe trying to go in the fall. I don't have anything booked yet, but I'm really thinking about it because it was just such an incredible time. I think every Star Wars fan that enjoys having fun and interacting with characters and kind of watching a story unfold, I think they should all do it because it's just the coolest thing ever. And it legitimately feels like you're in Star Wars. I think it's just the coolest thing that Disney has done ever.
It's funny because I remember when it sort of first opened, I remember Sky Talk has a lot of coverage on it and sort of feeling very sort of excited about it. Obviously, with it being in a
Yeah.
different country, it's a bit, I mean, it's expensive anyway, but also the logistics of getting there and the time off. And I've got a wife who's not necessarily a huge Star Wars fan. You know, is she going to be up for that type of thing? But then
Yeah.
obviously sort of died away. But then obviously when you went and then your coverage of it sort of absolutely relit the flames in me to sort of one day we'll definitely do it. I think one day definitely.
It's totally worth it. I think the experience could be changing in the future because I do think they're having a hard time keeping the cruises full with guests. When we were there, it felt pretty full, but at dinner you could see there were a few tables that were empty, and that's when it was a little more obvious that it wasn't a full cruise. And I'm really hoping that they don't change the experience too much. I hope maybe in the future they'll lower the price a little bit so it's more accessible to people. But I worry that taking away part of the experience would make it less special. Like if they have to cut down on expenses, if they take out some of the characters, would it be as good of an experience? Probably not. So I'm really grateful that I was able to go when the experience was like the same way it was when it opened, because I could see, in a few years maybe things change and they tweak the experience a little bit, so that people are more apt to be able to afford it because it is very expensive.
Yeah, I think it works two ways. I think if they change it to sort of downgrade it, then you can maybe run that on certain weekends or certain weeks, and then have the full experience back for at other times. For people who want to enjoy that. But I think also,
Yeah,
I think one cool thing though is that you could potentially time jump. So you could call this adventure one, and give it a fancy name better than that. But then down the line, say in 5 years time, they could put it in a different era of Star Wars,
that would be really cool.
and then do run that for so many months, and then you know before you know it, you'll have different eras running there, and then people will come back for their favorite era they experience when that runs on a certain weekend as a special or something like that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I do think alternating weekends or days or whatever to have maybe a more affordable, toned down experience and then like the full experience. I think that would be really awesome. Um because I do think like the price is just why so many people haven't done it. But I think everybody that if people could experience it, they would understand why it costs so much and they would agree that it's worth the price. Like when I went on it, I honestly after the first day, Tori and I said to each other, this was worth the fee already and it's only day 1. Just because we had experienced so much and had such a great time. We were like, yeah, we can see why they have to charge so much. All the food is very ornate, all the drinks are very ornate. There's a lot of staff on the cruise just to accommodate you and make sure that you're comfortable. There's a lot of different characters and cast members there. So, obviously they have to pay all of those people and I'm sure there's so many different chefs like making all of the food. So, I can see why it costs as much as it does, but if they did want to tone it down, I could see them doing maybe like more simplified food and not having to have as many chefs, maybe having less people to like tend to you, maybe a couple less characters, and the storyline would be changed a little bit. And it would still be a really fun experience, but being able to do the full thing is super cool.
This is the hottest of questions. Cad Bane, is he alive or dead in Star Wars canon after Book of Boba
He's
Fett?
alive. He is alive, and I will die on that hill.
When will we see him
He's
next, do
out
you think?
there. Honestly, I hope we don't see him for a while. I hope he kind of shows up unexpectedly in something, maybe like I don't know, like 5 years from now. Let's give him some time to get his life back together.
It is crazy when you think about, where we are now in Star Wars storytelling, and obviously we've got the Mandalorian series, and it's sort of telling this era, and it's going to move into the Ahsoka series is going to be part of that, and and about finding Ezra and Thrawn and the rise of the
Yeah.
First Order. And if you go back 5 years ago, like we probably didn't even think would be where we are now. So if you think in 5 years' time, who knows? Who knows what stories will be being told?
Yeah, everything's happening so quickly now, especially with the TV shows. It's just like there's always something out, which is crazy. It's wild to me that we've had 2 full seasons of The Mandalorian. Now we're on season 3. We now have Kenobi that's done. We've got Andor that's done. We've got Acolyte on the way. We've got Book of Boba Fett that's done. There's just so much.
Do you think there's a possibility for Kenobi too?
I think there is. I think it was so well received that they could find a way to do another season. Obviously, I wouldn't want them to do another season unless it really like had a great story, but I think it would be well received. I think the cast would be up to do it again. It sounds like Ewan is down to do another one. Um so yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility of it. And who knows? Like maybe they'll announce that at Celebration. I have no idea, but that would be super cool if they did.
Yeah, I think for me, I think there's definitely season two there. I think I wouldn't want to see Vader back in it. I think that story's been told now. I think, but there's still so much,
Yeah.
still so much storytelling for Ewan and Kenobi to tell. I think, and if you bring back Liam Neeson as the Force Ghost, guiding them a little bit,
Oh my
you can do
god.
your thoughts. Yeah,
I think Brian would die. Maybe I don't want that.
yeah. Well, yeah. We certainly don't want him
Oh.
to die. I know that. But I mean, just imagine how excited you would be on future episodes of the Dorky Diva show.
Yeah, he would be amped. Yeah.
But I think that brings an end to everything I wanted to speak to you about anyway on the podcast. Is there anything else you want to add, Savannah, or talk about?
I think that's it. I'm just really excited to see you and experience everything at Celebration. I'm really, really, really excited. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I think we were saying sort of off air before we started recording that it's been so far away for so long, and then now it's like
Yeah.
it's too soon. Like as you said, you're trying to plan what you're going to wear and you don't know. For me, we're literally getting some bookmarks made for the podcast, so we'll be handing those out at Celebration, and trying to get some stickers made. We've just sort of approved the proof on those, trying to get those made, and then, it's weeks away now, and it's like it's almost too little
So
time.
little time, so much to do.
Yeah, definitely. But no, looking forward. It's going to be fantastic. Like I said, I'm definitely going to hold you to the promise of good company and good food. 100%, definitely.
Of course. Of course.
Do you want to? Obviously, we spoke a little bit about the Zolan Dark there. I don't know if you want to plug where people can find the first part.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I host a podcast called The Dorky Diva Show, and my co-host on that podcast, Brian Balance, he wrote an original story inspired by Star Wars, and we turned that story into an audio drama, which you can find on the web at The Dorky Diva Show Presents, and it's also in our podcast feed under The Dorky Diva Show, which is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to your podcast, just search The Adventures of the Zolan Dart and you'll find it. We've been working on a sequel for a while now, and I have lots of things to say about that, but I can't share them just yet. So, probably in about 2 months' time, we will have a big announcement out about the sequel, which we're very excited to share. And Brian has written another amazing story that I'm excited for everybody to hear. So yeah, it's going to be a great time, but I really can't say a whole lot about it just yet. But on the website, the Dorky Diva Show presents. We've got a link where you can listen to the audio drama, but we've also got a little bit of like behind the scenes stuff on there. We've got some character art of the various characters that you'll hear in the audio drama. So if you're a very visual person like I am, maybe go visit that page first, look at the characters, and then when you're listening to the audio drama, you can kind of visualize what they look like, which is pretty fun. So, yeah, very excited to talk more about the sequel soon. And Peter, we will let you know when we have an announcement to make, and we'll chat about that with you. And maybe we can come back on and talk about it more with Brian on the show, too.
I was going to say that better happen because that was absolutely fantastic last time. So,
Yes, we'll plan on it for May, hopefully May.
spot on. And obviously, for anybody listening, obviously we'll put the trailer for the first episode on at the end of this episode, and you'll be able to listen to the trailer before you go check out the full episode where Savanna's just directed you to. Any other announcements you want to get out of the way, Savanna, or shall we wrap it up?
That's it, Peter. I got nothing else going on.
Well, I've got everything not fun going on, so it is time to wrap it up, I think, with my house renovations and everything.
Yeah.
Savanna, thank you very much for coming on. It's a pleasure as always. As you know, one of the reasons why this podcast exists is because of sort of meeting you and seeing what you were doing with your podcast and enjoying that so much. So thanks for that. Thanks for coming on. And very much looking forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks in London, which will be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. I always love coming on your show. It's just a very chill vibe. I love it. And I'm very excited to see you. And I still can't believe that we met in 2016 and now it's 2023 and we're going to be at Celebration again. That's just so crazy.
Is that like 7 years?
Yeah,
That's 7 years.
It is. Isn't that
Wow.
wild?
That's crazy. That's absolutely
That
amazing.
is crazy. That's insane.
That is crazy. When you think about that now, I feel old, very old. I'm 34 next week, but yeah, that makes me feel old, I think.
That's so funny. Wow.
And obviously,
Wow.
And obviously hoping to book Brian for an episode to come talk some Star Wars, but this weekend he's been very busy with Disney on Ice, I believe, or something like that. So,
Oh, yeah. I saw his Instagram post yesterday. I was like, gosh, you are a full-fledged Disney adult now.
well, I almost had him booked, and then he was like, "Oh, I forgot about this Disney on Ice." And I was like, "That sounds better." So definitely do Disney on Ice.
Yeah. As soon as he has time, I'm sure he'll come on. It's difficult for he and I to even find time to record together because he works at night. So our schedules are very different, but I'm sure he'll make time for you as soon as he can.
I feel like I don't know anybody who is actually as busy as him because, obviously he has his day job where he works at night, and then he releases sort of a lot of really awesome episodes of his podcast, and then he's always like away working on like shooting shorts and like acting in parts, and so he's just he gives I've got a lot of respect for just how busy he is trying to make his dreams come true. He's a true inspiration.
He maximizes every minute of his day, that is for sure.
He does indeed. So I said I'm hoping to have him on soon, but he is absolutely wonderful. And we'll miss you, Brian. That's what we'll say. Because we do. But no, we'll take it away. Listeners, thank you very much for listening. Savanna, thank you very much for coming on. May the force be with you all. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savanna Odit. You might know me as host of the Dorky Diva show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome, welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pack 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
Ah, so you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.